Hi guys, today I would like to share with you how to write a good introduction. What is the main barrier in writing? What is the main barrier to write? So actually, it is about the time. You have to plan how to write or when to write. How to be a good writer? That's another big question. So in order to be a good writer, you must have a good reading. That means you must read a lot before you become a good writer. Follow from a good article, their style, how they write, how they argue, how they cite the paper, how they start their writing. So you need to learn from the others how to be a good writer or how to produce a good article. So basically, these are the content of article. So in this talk, I will focus on the introduction section in a journal article. So getting started, how to start? You prepare a paper outline, break the paper into section, assemble all the data, table, figures, assemble all the data, tables, figures, organize them into a sequence. Then you discuss with your supervisors or your supervisor, write them, do a section at a time, start with something easy. So first of all, you need to decide the title of article. So title must reflect the content of the thesis or the content of the articles. Use concise but informative title. Be specific and accurate. Avoid phrase such as a study of, investigation of, and so forth. So avoid jargon and acronym in the article. This is very common mistake. Many authors just use a jargon or acronym in their title of the article. Avoid this because some reader may not understand what are all these acronyms. For example, of an article title is Hyperheuristic for Combinatorial Optimization Problems. So this is example. Then we focus on the introduction. So we go to the introduction section. Introduction is basically a description of the general problem followed by a statement of the specific problem and the motivation for the study. So introduction section, the purpose of the introduction section should be to supply sufficient background information to allow the reader to understand and evaluate the result of the present study without needing to refer to previous publications on the topic. So the introduction should also provide the rationale for the present study, choose references carefully to provide the most salient background rather than an exhaustive review of the topic. This means that the introduction section should have adequate number of references that you cite, but not aim to be like a literature review or a review paper. So why do we need a strong introduction? This is a big question that we need to ask. So don't take for granted that introduction is just a compilation of previous work. So you must be serious in writing the introduction. So some authors, especially junior PhD students, they thought that introduction is just a compile of previous work. Just need to say this guy do this guy do the others. There is no objective in the introduction. So this is a mistake actually. I did the same mistake when I learned how to write. So this is very common mistake. So many people think that the introduction is just talking about what others have done. It is not just that. So introduction is very, very important. Many paper or many article was rejected, or many articles were rejected due to the bad introduction. So we cannot see, the reviewer cannot see what is good about this article, what is the gap that the researcher want to fill up. Why this article is important. So you need to say in the introduction why your work is important, what you want to fill up. That is what is the gap. So the introduction, the main point of the introduction is to show the gap. So how to show the gap? You must discuss the most relevant, some of the most relevant article that you want to follow, or you want to show how your work similar and differ to them, and why you need to add on to their work, or why you want to make another research, why you need to do another research because the others have done. So why you need to propose a new one, or why you want to enhance, for example. So after the title and abstract, the introduction is the next thing that your audience will read. So the introduction gives readers the initial impression of your research paper. So a solid opening is it not only tells your reader what you will prove or show or your contribution, but it also makes them want to read the rest of the paper. So basically, this section provides an overview of the article as a whole. It does not simply give background. The first sentence should identify the problem and signal your result, then move to a more detailed overview of the problem, importance, method, intellectual context, and your finding. And the final paragraph usually briefly lists what we'll cover in the subsequent section. You can also usually do it in one sentence per section, or try to vary the sentence. But this is not compulsory. There are many styles in writing articles. There are many styles in writing the introduction. Some authors do not write a brief list of what you will cover in the subsequent section. It depends on the author. It's not we call this is right, this is wrong. So in writing, anything is right as long as it is right. So the introduction is often short, perhaps maximum is 2 pages. So write it after you have written the body and the conclusion chapter so that you know just what you are introducing. So what to write in the introduction? What do we know about the topic? You need to tell the reader what do we know about the topic. That means what others have done. Provide comprehensive and critical review of the major findings in the area. What we don't know, that is the gap in the knowledge. What are still debating in the literature. So identify what the gap in our current understanding of the field are and why it is important that this gap be closed. So why we are now showing, what we are now showing. A clear statement summarizing what's known, what needs to be learned, and what your paper are focusing, aim that you want to accomplish. Writing a good introduction. So the first paragraph should provide a brief background in present tense to establish context, relevance, or nature of the problem, question, or purpose, what is known. And then you can have second paragraph. You may include the importance of the problem and unclear issue, what is unknown. Then finally, the last paragraph should state the rationale, hypothesis, the objective, the purpose, why the study was done. So this is 3 paragraphs. Also good if you can have 3 paragraphs in your introduction with the complete of all these points. But you may have more, but don't write too long introduction. So 5 steps to write a research paper introduction. First, introduce your topic and get the reader interested. So you must get the reader attention. Start with a strong statement. For example, the complex optimization problem cannot be solved using exact method and so forth. So start with a very strong statement, but remember, you must cite from the literature this strong statement. You cannot make your own statement in the introduction. You must get justification cite from the literature. Describe the background. Second thing is describe the background. Examine past studies where your fits in. Provide only the most relevant background information. Do not provide too broad background. Just the most relevant background information. For example, you are writing about the what we call the internet security. So you don't have to start with the history of internet, because many people, many readers know what is internet. You don't have to define what is internet, who use the internet and so forth, because this is not important to your topic. Focus not too broad. The most relevant background information. So the introduction isn't the place to get too in-depth. So it is a short, this is a sort of miniature literature review. Sketch the current state of your research into your topic, boil them to a few sentences. So this is example of how to write empirical paper background. Various empirical studies have been conducted into Facebook usage among adolescent girls. This from, you cite from Tigerman's letter 2013 and Maygrave 2014. So this study have consistently found that the visual and interactive aspect of the platform have the greatest influence on body image issue. Despite this, highly visual social media such as Instagram have yet to be robustly researched. So this is the gap. This is the issue. Okay, the third step. The third step is establish your research problem. Try to lead into the problem on the basis of your discussion of the literature. Think in terms of this question. What research gap is your work intended to address? What limitation in previous work does it address? What contribution to knowledge does it make? So these are the three questions that you must address in your introduction. Remember that you cannot give your own opinion or your own the argument from your experiment in the introduction. Do not write about your result in the introduction. So the introduction must be supported by the literature. All the argument must be from the literature. So you can make the connection between your problem and the existing research using phrases like the following. For example, although X has been studied in detail, insufficient attention has been paid to Y. So this one, you want to show that you will address a previously overlooked aspect of your topic. The implication of X study deserves to be explored further. So you will build on something suggested by the previous study, exploring it in depth, in greater depth. So the other example is, it is generally assumed that X. However, this paper suggests that Y, blah, blah, blah. So this means that the connection is you will depart from the consensus on your topic, establishing a new position. So this example, you can copy this sentence, but adapt to your own context. Okay, we proceed with step number 4. Step number 4, specify your objective. What you intend to identify, what you intend to find, what you intend to find out or express in your research paper. In argumentative paper, present a thesis statement. in empirical paper poses a research question or what a hypothesis as to the answer. So present your research question clearly and directly with a minimum of discussion at this point. For example, in the you are using argumentative paper that is from your thesis statement, for example. So this paper argues that the Dutch government must stimulate and subsidize livestock farmers, especially cattle farmers, to transition to sustainable vegetable farming. The example of empirical paper, we use research question, for example. So this study set out to answer the following question. What effect does daily use of Instagram have on the prevalence of body image issue among adolescent girls? We investigate. So this is the other example is indirectly. We investigated the effect of daily Instagram use on the prevalence of body image issues among adolescent girls. Okay, now you go to the example on using stated your objective based on the hypothesis. So if your research involves testing hypothesis, they should be stated along with your research question. So they are usually presented in the past tense since the hypothesis will already have been tested by the time you are writing up your paper. So for example, it was hypothesized that daily Instagram use would be associated with an increase in body image concern and a decrease in self-esteem rating. So this is another way to state your objective in terms of hypothesis. Okay, let's proceed with number 5. Step 5. Map out your paper. A brief overview of the rest of the paper. If included, the overview should be concise, direct, and written in the present tense. For example, this paper will first discuss several examples of survey-based research into adolescents and social media use, then we will go on to blah, blah, blah. So this is not a good start. We can say it's okay, but not recommended. The other way is this paper first discuss several examples of survey-based research into adolescent social media use, then goes on to blah, blah. So very simple and straightforward. Okay, let's have a look on the example of argumentative paper introduction. So a cow responsible for climate change. This is the hook. Introduce your topic with a strong hook. So you are making a statement, but actually this should be cited. A cow responsible for climate change. You create some controversy in the article. So the next sentence is a recent study, RIVM 2019, for example, shows that cattle farmer account for 2/3 of agriculture nitrogen emissions in the Netherlands. So this emission result from nitrogen in nature, which can regrade into ammonia and enter an atmosphere. So the study calculation showed that agriculture is the main source of nitrogen pollution, accounting of 46% of the country's total emission. So by comparison, road traffic and household are responsible for 6.1% each, the industrial sector for 1%. So this one is studied by RIM 2019. So this is a background, provide relevant background information. Then next section is, while efforts are being made to mitigate this emission, policymakers are reluctant to reckon with the scale of the problem. So the approach presented here is a radical one, but commensurate with the issue. So this is the research problem, emphasize the importance of your research problem. Then next section is, this paper argues that the Dutch government must stimulate and subsidize livestock farmers, especially kata farmers to transition to sustainable vegetable farming. So this is a thesis statement. Present the thesis statement you will argue for in the paper. The next section is it first establish the adequacy of current mitigation measures, then discuss the various advantage of the result proposed, and finally address potential objection to the plan of the on economic grounds. This is the overview, the map out the rest of the paper for the reader. Okay, this is example of empirical paper in how to write the introduction. So first, this is the hook of the paper. So the rise of social media has been accompanied by a sharp increase in the prevalence of body image issues among women and girls. So this introduces your topic with a strong hook. Then the next section in this paragraph is to identify or to show the next sentences is to show the previous research, what others have been done, and what is the issue related to your topic. So let's see this example. So this correlation has received significant academic attention, whereas empirical studies have been conducted into Facebook usage among adolescent girls. These studies have consistently found that the visual and interactive aspect of the platform have the greatest influence on body image issues. So despite this, highly visual social media such as Instagram have yet to be robustly researched. So this shows the research gap or the issues. Then the next sentence is show the gap, what you want to do. Relate your research problem to a gap in the region. So this paper set out to address this research gap. So where is the gap? Is that the visual social media such as Instagram has not been studied yet, has not been robustly researched. So next, this is about the research question or hypothesis. So we investigated the effect of daily Instagram use on the prevalence of body image issues among adolescent girls. It was hypothesized that daily Instagram use would be associated with an increased body image concern and decrease in its self-esteem rating. So this is the whole paragraph, which is very concrete, which have the hook, then the background, the previous research, and then the issues, the gap, and how you will fill up the gap, and what is the hypothesis. All this in one paragraph. This is very effective introduction paragraph. So another example, how to write a good introduction. Start by giving a general background. For example, alkalizing agents are important in preparation of many traditional starch-based food products. For example, include the use of lime in the production of total and cashew and so forth. So start by giving general background. Despite the age-old usage of alkalizing agents, there is still much which is not known concerning the effect of this reagent on stress properties. So this is the graph. So you make a rational and the problem statement. Although the ability of the aqueous alkali in inducing stress swelling is common knowledge, most of the work has been centered on NaOH in system containing residue sources. So you show the gap. So you show that most of the work has been centered on this disease, but not focused on blah blah. So that is the gap. This is how to show the gap or how to highlight your research problem. Connecting the problem statement to the objective. So this will show reason for undertaking the study. So the influence of alkalizing agent, especially constraint on thermal properties of stretches, has yet to be studied in great detail. So you are telling that the effect, the influence of alkaline agents has not yet been studied in great detail. So therefore, The specific objective of the present study are to identify how the sodium carbonate affect the thermal profile associated with genetism of the stress. So this is to relate your objective with the issues or with the gap. So how are the sodium carbonate? This is a question. How does sodium carbonate affect the thermal properties associated with genetism of the stress? This is the question. So another example, this is highlighted here. This is a topic. Dim brain stimulation is highly effective surgical therapy for helping people with movement disorders re-establish control over their motor function. So this is topic. The significance is much of its success has been based on long-term experience with surgical ablation for managing hyperkinetic and hypokinetic state. So this procedure not only provided the impetus to develop a stereotactic apparatus and so forth. All these are the background. So what others have done. So then you should get. However, despite the clinical success of DBS, we still lack a fully formulated theory for now how DBS works. So this is how to show the gap. So you tell what others have done, and then you use the keyword like say, however, despite most of the previous work have tackled this issue. However, limited research has been conducted to blah, 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 blah. So this is how you show the gap. So we recap what should be in the introduction, broad information on topic, broad information. So this is the recap of the content of introduction. We start with broad information on the topic. That is, we discuss about the previous research, narrower background information, that is the need for the study, focus of the paper, that is, we state what is our hypothesis or question or aim that should come at the end of the introduction, and then summary of problem, that is the selling point. So overall, the introduction section should be around 500 to 1000 words. Don't write too long introduction. 10 tips for writing an effective introduction. Start broadly and then narrow down. So first is start broadly and narrow down. Briefly describe the broad research area and then narrow down to your particular focus. This will help position your research topic within a broader field, making the work accessible to a broader audience and not just to specialize in your field. So the second tip is state the aims and importance. Explain what you aim to accomplish and why your readers should be interested in seeing you succeed. The basic structure can be straightforward as we want to accomplish X because it will lead to Y. This is just very straightforward. So the third tip is cite thoroughly but not excessively. Thoroughly cover the most recent and most relevant literature. So you must select the most relevant, not all, but the most relevant, and it cover all the what we call related evidence about the gap that will support your research. Your review of the literature should be complete but not overly long. Remember, you are not writing a review article. If you find that your introduction is too long or overflowing with citation, one possible solution is to cite review articles. Avoid giving too many citations for one point. For example, many studies have found a significant association between X and Y, and you cite 10 articles for this. So this is not right. So a significant association has been found between X and Y in men. Let's cite 3 articles, for example, women 8 to 11 and children 12 to 15. So this is okay. Okay, number 5. Clearly state either your hypothesis or research question. In empirical scientific research, stating a hypothesis might be a useful way of structuring the study. For example, in this study, we hypothesize that X is related to Y, and we test the hypothesis using method A. For research in formal science or exploratory research, you could consider stating a research question. For example, in this study, we investigate whether X is related to Y. In other words, you are saying X is related to Y. That is a question, but you state in the elaborative statement, not in a question. You can write in a question. There's no problem. So note that the research question doesn't always have to be stated in the interrogative form, that is with a question mark. So you can state in the form of statement. So hypothesis and research questions are effective because they help give readers shape to the paper and serve as a signpost phrases that guide readers through your paper smoothly. So the next tip number 6, consider giving an overview of the paper. In the last paragraph, consider giving a section-by-section overview of the paper if it is appropriate to your field. Some field or some journal, they don't encourage to write overview of the paper. If you have space, then you think it is important, then you write an overview of the paper because this will guide the reader. For example, in section 2, we describe our analysis method and the data set we use and so forth. Number 7, keep it short. This is very, very important. Keep it short. Don't write very long introduction because that will bore, that will distract the reader to read the whole paper and hard to understand, to find out what are actually the focus of your paper. So a good target is about 500 to 1,000 words, or in any what we call in the number of page, usually 1 page is good. If you have to go beyond that, not more than 2 pages. So number 8, the tip number 8, show, don't just tell. You must show. This means that instead of simply saying that the topic is important, show why the topic is important. For example, the development of new material is important for the automotive industry. So this is not correct. You should write, the development of new material is necessary for the automotive industry to produce stronger, lighter vehicle, which will improve safety and fuel economy. So you give the reason why. Show why. Don't just say it is important, it is necessary, it is hard, it is complex. So you must tell why. Number 9, don't bury your readers in detail. So instead of saying, we find that our algorithm requires 55% of the memory and 45% of computation time of conventional algorithm. What does it mean? It's to what we call, you have to elaborate this. So to avoid writing long paragraph or many more sentences to describe a simple thing, you just make a summary. So it's usually better to give a general overview of the findings in the introduction. So here we compare the proposed algorithm with a conventional algorithm in terms of memory use and computational speed, showing that the proposed algorithm is both smaller and faster. That's very straightforward, easy to be understood. Okay, finally, the 10th tip, check the journal requirement. So please follow the journal requirement. Some journal have specific requirement in the introduction, in the guideline for the authors. For example, they might state the maximum word counted or a guideline that might require specific content hypothesis, statement, summary, question, and so forth, and the what we call the citation style. You must refer to the journal requirement, journal guidelines. Download the author guideline in the paper. Okay, what are the common mistakes? This is common for many authors. Too much or not enough information. Research gap, question, hypothesis, or issue are not clear and are not supported or not clear or not justified. They just say based on their opinion without citation. So this is a very big mistake. Without citation, this is your opinion. And you cannot say the gap based on your preliminary work in the same paper. If you have published that work, that is okay. But if you are using your own argument in your own paper without proven yet, this is a mistake. Okay, remember this. Do not make your own argument in the introduction. So the content of the introduction should be supported, or the argument in the introduction should be supported based on the literature, not based on your opinion. Unclear purpose. So we do not know what are you trying to say? What is your main point? If I ask you why you discuss this work, what is the main point of this paragraph? No purpose. Why you discuss this work first, this one second, this one third, and so forth? In what order? And why you sort the discussion like that? Why you put this work discussion in this paragraph, not the other paragraph? So all this, if you have no purpose, this can be just jumbled up. You can move your sentence from one paragraph to another paragraph, or in any different sequence. So that doesn't matter because you don't have any purpose. So this another mistake is the work that you discuss is just a list of previous work. So you are saying that this guy doing this guy done this has been done by this one. So why are you telling this? So keep asking yourself, why you want to discuss this? What is the purpose? Why you need to have this work? Why you need to cite this work? Why you need to say this? Can you just remove this from the introduction? Why it is important to discuss this work in your article? So you must have the reason, not just a list of previous work. Confusing structure, that means no flow, no connection between sentences, between paragraphs. There is no connection, no flow, no structure at all. You can just delete the paragraph without affecting the content of the introduction. This is a mistake. This is very common mistake. Too many synonyms. Don't try to show off that you know many words. Be consistent in using the word. Don't use the synonym. So because this will confuse reader. They have to check dictionary. Don't assume that all reader understand all the word that you use. Use simple word so that readers can easily understand your article. Sentences, paragraph, or the whole introduction section are too long. This is very, very common mistake. Too long paragraph, too long sentences. So try to avoid this. What is the optimum number of sentences in one paragraph? So many researchers tell that optimum paragraph length is 5 sentences. Minimum is 3. Don't write less than 3 sentences in one paragraph. So 5 is very good, it's optimum. But if you need to go beyond that, don't write too long. 6 might be okay, 7 might be okay if your sentence. But if you write one paragraph, one paragraph, half page, for example, that is considered very long paragraph. And how about the number of words in one sentence? What is the optimum number of words in one sentence? So some researchers say the good number or the optimum length of one sentence is about 20 words. If you go 30 words, it's also okay. But don't write, if you want to estimate, it's about not more than 3 lines. 2 lines is very good, but not more than 3 lines. That's too long. Too long sentence means very hard to understand and create headache to user and bot. So these are the most common mistake in introduction and also in writing journal. So you can have, you can see more videos that I have recorded. These are the link, the problem statement, a research question, how to write a good research question. These are the video link. You have a research hypothesis. I have created a video for research hypothesis, research objective, and also thesis writing organization, how to write a good abstract. You can refer to all these videos if you're interested. So these are the references that I use to prepare this slide. So with that, thank you very much for listening. Bye.